Hello and welcome to PlayStation Racer. My name is Mitchell Morgan, and in this video I want to take a few moments just to go through the Race Randomizer that I've been working on over the last few weeks. We have been using the fully random option, but we've now got a favourite races option that I want to look at, and to basically give those of you that are racing with us in the lobbies every Monday to Friday at 9 o'clock UK time in the evening, an insight into how the software was written, how it works, so you can better understand. So let's get into the software. First of all, we have the subscriber window where I can define people that have proposed a particular race combo. This is useful so that if I need to change that combo in the future, I know who submitted it, and then I can go and say we're going to be making these particular changes. We then got the time of day. Now I've mapped into the system all of the times of day that are available in the game. This is the same for all of these entities. I'm going to have a record ID number, a description, the rating, and used. Now the important things to note in this is the rating first of all. The rating is the number of times that any of these time options, time of day options, will appear in the array for the randomizer to pick. So in this instance, every single time of day has got an equal opportunity of being picked because they're all set to 5. If we decide that we don't particularly like running at midnight, I can set that rating to once, and then it will only appear in the array once. Or if we like it, I could set it as 10 and it will appear 10 times. So if you think about a lottery draw or a raffle, for instance, if it's got a rating of 1, you've only bought 1 ticket for that particular item. It's only got 1 chance of coming up. If the rating is 5, there are 5 tickets in the draw, and there are 5 times more opportunity of that coming up than the midnight that we set to 1. You get the idea. It's how we can define how frequently the randomizer will find something. Again, leaving them all as 5 means that everything has got an equal opportunity of coming up. We've then got used, and this is the number of times that a particular time of day has been used. So afternoon has been used 7 times, evening 4 times, early morning 3 times. This is useful for me so that I can see how frequently a particular option is coming up and how frequently it's being used. Now if I go in here and I just choose record number 1, actually let's pick a different one. Record number 2, Dawn, has got popularity rating of 5, but you can see it's been used twice, but more importantly, I can see the last time this particular option was used. It's the same for weather. I've got all of the weathers mapped into the system, and again, I've got a record ID, the description, the rating, and times used. So if I just put the popularity rating in order, you can see that we've actually got the rain options marked down, so only 1 option for those to come up in the randomizer, whereas the cloudy and the sunny options have got 5 times each. And you can see in the times used that obviously the rainy options don't get used very often, and the cloudy and bright CO1, that has been the most popular, being used 4 times. Let's just come out of there. We've then got all of the cars that have been mapped into the system. We've got just over 100 cars that are mapped into the system. Most of these are cars that are more readily available in the game. So those that we win doing the menu books and the like, or relatively inexpensive cars that are available in Brand Central. But occasionally we will throw in a different car. Not always available. So for instance, we've got the BMW 3-litre CSL that somebody particularly liked for one race option. We've also got the car that we really like running from time to time, which is the Honda RA272. That's one of the legendary cars. So there are other car options in here that we can use, and unfortunately if you don't have the car, you can either pick something close, or if we're only actually allowing that car on that particular race, that might be one that you might need to sit out. But that's not a bad thing because the lobbies are beginning to get quite busy now. We then got the tracks, and again I've mapped all of the tracks into the system. I'm just going to pick one at random here. So you can see the popularity rating of 1900. Now that popularity rating is being increased by the number of times that this track appears in the daily races each week. That was done because there were a number of people that wanted the randomizer to pick the daily race combos more frequently than the other combos. It was a bit divided. Some people liked it, some people didn't. So at the moment, I'm not really increasing those numbers too much at the moment. That's based on the number of times that these tracks and the cars came up over the last 2 years. And I'm thinking about reducing that back down so that the full randomizer gives us really randomizer combinations. But if we get really nice daily race combos that we like, then we can set those up as favorite races. You can also see the number of times it was used and the last date that it was used, etc. We've also got the track options. So for this particular track, we've got these times a day that were open to us, and we've got the applicable weather. So we haven't got any rain options here, so we can't run a rain race at this particular track. If I was to choose, let's say, the Red Bull Ring, which does have weather, and we go to the track options, you'll see we've got different times of day available, but now we've got the rain options are available to us as well. And then we've got the track image so that people can very quickly see the track that we're running on when we're running the lobbies each evening. We then get into the favorites. This is module 2 of the randomizer. If I bring up record number 1, then you can see the room name is Sardegna and the car type. That's the format that I'm using for most of these now. The track name that we're using, who proposed it and when. So again, I can go back to that individual and say, oh, we need to tweak this slightly. You're okay with the tweaks. And then I've mapped into here all of the options that are available to us for lobby racing. So the room mode, free run, practice and race, practice, qualifier, race, etc. And also for race type, I've got race for fun, free run, etc. That's the same for all of those options. We can also define the maximum number of users, the number of laps that we're going to run, the weather. Now the weather is interesting because I can either choose a preset weather where we will choose a weather for the whole of the race. In this one, it's going to be light rain. Or I can set custom weather where the random weather option comes up. So now I could say, let's start off with a nice sunny race. And if we've got multiple sectors available to us in the game, I could turn around and say, okay, well, let's progress to light rain. And then towards the end of the race, we'll go for torrential rain. So we've now got a race that starts dry, goes through a damp period, right the way through to full on torrential rain. Alternatively, I can just leave that to be random weather and the game will randomize the weather for us accordingly. With the time of day, I can either pick a time of day, so late morning, and it will just start with the late morning, or I can say fully random time. Now you can't randomize the time of day in the game, so what will happen is the software, the randomizer, will see that we want a random and it will just pick one that's applicable for this particular track. We've then got our variable time speed rate. So if we want to have a race in the afternoon and only in the afternoon, we can set it to 1. Or if we set it to 30, for instance, we may well have a race that starts off in the afternoon, goes through the evening, into the night, and then right the way through to the following morning. We've then got our race settings. So the start type, whether we've got a grid start or whether it's a rolling start. We've got our grid order, whether it's slowest first, fastest first, or the host sets it. And again, all of the options that are available in the game are mapped into the system. Whether we want to have the balance of power on or off, the boost on or off, on whether it's strong and weak, our damage, whether it's none, light or heavy. We then have the ability to set our tyre wear rate and our fuel consumption rate. So that will enable us to force pit stops. If we have a higher tyre wear rate or fuel consumption, the tyres are going to wear out, the fuel's going to wear out, we're going to have to pit. But when do you pit? or we can leave that as 1 times where it's just a straightforward sprint. And we've also got our car settings. So for this one, it's just a brake balance. That's the only setting that we can have. Or we might decide that we're going to allow a number of these items to be set for this particular race. Under regulations, we've got the cars that are available to us to run. So in this one, it's just the Group 3. Or we might decide, no, hang on, let's have a 2-tier race. Why don't we come in here and grab a Group 4 car with hard tyres? And now we've got a 2-category race. We've got a faster car and a slower car. Alternatively, I can go in here and say, well, let's pick a type of road car or 2 different types of road car. So for instance, for the American Muscle Evening, we're going to have the Camaro up against the Mustang. We can define those in here as well. We can limit the PP, the BHP, the weight, and also we can define the tyres. So for this particular race, we are allowing racing tyres, and the usable compounds are soft and medium, but we need to run both the soft and the medium compounds. However, we could set it that we need to run the softs. So now in this situation, you could start on mediums, come in and put the softs on, or you could decide, hang on, I can get all the way to the end of the race on softs and just run with the soft tyres. It's entirely up to you. We then got the penalties, so whether we've got a shortcut penalty on or off, whether it's weak or strong, whether we correct the car if you go off, whether flag rules are on, whether the wall collision is on, and the penalty setting, whether it's weak or strong, all set as they are in the race, and also our driving options, whether we're going to allow people to have counter assistant steering on, whether we're going to allow them to auto drive, whether we're going to allow ABS. Traction control, again, we can have that as no limit, which we'll use for most races, or if we're running maybe the Honda RA272, we might set that as prohibited, because back in the day you wouldn't have had traction control, and therefore it wouldn't be applicable to that car. And then if there are any notes from the person that has submitted this particular track combo, then those notes can be included in there as well. So those are all of the database options that are in the system and the windows that are used to define the different options. During a lobby race evening, I will be using the fully randomized button or the favorites button. The fully randomized one is one that we have been using previously. And if I run the randomizer, it will give us the date and the time. And yes, it is a work day. And yes, I've taken 15 minutes out just to put this video together because I want you to know more about this randomizer before we start using it this evening. So I'm just taking a break for the moment. So this has thrown up the Nürburgring and Group 3, sunny with alpine mist and evening. And that will be the race that we will run. And it's fully randomized, and it can bring up some good combos. It can also bring up some bad combos, and we can vote on these combos after we've run the race. And if it's one that we really like, then we can put that in as a favorite. Alternatively, we might decide, well, actually, we quite fancy the Nürburgring, but we've been running with Group 3 cars all night. I can overrule that and say, okay, let's go with the a Group 4 car on hard tyres. Or I could decide, no, what's really good around here is the BMWs, so let's run with the BMW M3. And we can overrule that in real time whilst we're using this in the lobby race in the evening. So we can overrun those or use the randomized option. And we can have any number of combinations. Now that, as I said, throws up some interesting and some options that maybe we don't like. So we've now got for module 2 our favorite races. These are what I refer to as canned races, or race definitions that people have run and know work really well, that they've enjoyed, and that we might want to run again. So for this particular one, I'm going to hit the randomizer, and this has given us a race at Le Mans. Unfortunately, I don't have an image for Le Mans, so we're just actually I'm going to leave that there for the moment because we've got the green button come up, and I'm going to come to that in a moment. But you can see the date and the time that we ran it and how many times we've run it, the cars that are available, the car settings, and the race regulations. And this is the window that you will see if you are racing with me in the lobbies. The important items are bolded, so you can see that we've got 5 times tyre wear and fuel consumption, so strategy might come in. You can see that mechanical damage is heavy, so if you do hit another car or the wall, then you're going to have to carry that damage for the whole of the race or come in and pit and have it fixed. You can also see that there are no limit to the usable tyres, so we can use soft, medium or hard, but during the race you need to use both the medium and the hard tyres. And we're going to be running this at early dawn. Now, if the little button up here is green, that indicates that there were some notes from whoever submitted this race combo to us. So you can see that this is 24 hours of drama from Le Mans, a 24-hour story played out over 24 minutes. There will be rain, and this features a day-night cycle, weather and strategy. So that's all been mapped into this particular race using the window that we looked at a moment ago. And again, I can run the race randomizer again. Now I haven't got any notes for this particular one, but now we're going to be running another race that we like, which is at Lagio Maggiore, West End in the Mitsubishi Evo. And we can see that the tyre wear is 1-on-1, so this is a straightforward sprint race. On comfort tyres, no need to pit, light damage, and we're running an early morning. So for those of you that are submitting race combos to me at the moment, this is the module that we will be using. However, for those of you that want to have a fully randomized race, well, we can bring up that particular module and we'll run that one instead. My preference for a race evening at the moment is that we will start with a fully randomized race, which could throw up something good or something not good. We can then vote at the end of that race to say whether we want that to be added to the favourites or not. If it does get added to the favourites, then it will be added, and then that race can come up whenever. Obviously, at the moment, we have got a good number of races in the randomizer, so you can see there that we've got 28 races that have been set up at the moment. We can have hundreds of thousands of these in the system, and obviously the more we have, the less frequently they will come up, because we only run 5 or 6 races in an evening at best. But this is how we are going to be choosing our races for the lobby going forwards. And of course, people can submit their own actually on the night by proposing them in the chat. So I hope that you have found this video useful and informative. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you're new around here, please consider subscribing, because it really helps the channel. And if you're a current subscriber, thank you for watching this video and for supporting me. In the meantime, I look forward to using this over the next few days and seeing how it goes. And I will see you again on another video or online in a lobby race very, very soon. For now, take care. Bye-bye.